esteemed guests, invitees, ladies and gentlemen. I am Vinod. I have a long association with Manipal University, or rather MAHE, Manipal Academy of Higher Education, and Dr. Srikanth. So we try to jointly put some of our thoughts about the global ranking, how to figure in the global ranking, and also we thought of putting some static data so that all the people are going to be in sync with where we are, what we are, how we are moving forward. So let me start by giving our respect to two eminent personalities whom we have. So the one is our former president, Sri Pranab Mukherjee, and he is the one who has promoted the ranking of institutions in the country and also urged for global benchmarking. And I consider that the NIRF, the National Ranking Framework, as well as the concept of institution of eminence, so that we can grow to the global level without too much of regulators coming in between, is all his contributions. And the second person whom we would like to remember is our own founder, Dr. T.M.A. Pai, and he is a person who has lived his life ahead of his time. So today in NEP, we are emphasizing on multifunctional universities. Way back in 1953, he started a medical college, started an engineering college, started a pharmacy college, started a nursing school, started a law college, started an arts and science college, all in the same place. And today it has culminated to a university, a deemed university, Manipal Academy of Higher Education. So this is how we will be putting it together. So global academic ranking, a quick review. Performance of Indian universities we'll have a look at. Then the gap analysis, little bit. The challenges, we all know it, but at the same time we would like to. And the market strategy in our way forward. Yeah, the most respected among the ranking is undoubtedly the academic ranking of World University, ARWU. So, and if you look at it, it started in 2003, and more about it we'll speak later. Then, of course, Times Higher Education World University Ranking, THE, which started in 2010, and also the QS University Ranking, which has started in 2004. So looking at the indicators of ARWU, so from it is being spelled, it is very clear that the Indian representation in this ranking is very, very low. And if you look at now, only Indian Institute of Science figures somewhere in the 401, 500 range in this ranking, and none of the Indian universities are there in the first 500 other than IISc. Primarily because we don't have Nobel laureates in our faculty, we don't have Nobel laureates in our alumni, etc., etc. And another 15 more universities are there in the rank 500 to 1,000. Now coming to the THE, THE is also heavily emphasizing on the research citations and outcome. And the 30% weightage for the teaching learning environment, and majority of the rest, about 65%, goes to the the research and citations, and of course 5% for internationalization. Yeah. So last time when the announcement came, we found that apart from the government universities, or rather the public universities, there were a lot of surprises, like IIT Indore figured out as the second best in India, and also in the 5th position, JSS Academy has figured, and also Amada Vidyapeeth. So these are the institutions which has come in the first 800, and another 12 plus 17 are also cited under the Times World Ranking. Now coming to the QS ranking, and this is where most of us are looking at the way forward. So here the weightages are a little more comfortable, that we feel that academic peer review has about 40% weightage, and employer reputation has about 10% weightage, and 5 and 5 for international student ratio as well as international staff ratio, and the faculty student ratio, and also citation per faculty, 20 and 20. That's how it is spelled. And 2 days back, we have heard the new announcement, that is QS World Ranking 2020, in which we are seeing the first 3 public universities, IIT Bombay, IIT Delhi, as well as IIT Bangalore, are in the first, none in the first 100, at least in 100, 200. We have 3 representations, and that is consistent in the last 3 years. And we have another 6 more representation in the first 500. And the what I have marked as green is the rank improved cases. And of course, we are fortunate to be figured as the best among the private universities, that is with 701 to 750 as rank. And OP Jindal this time has figured in the rank, so 751 to 800. And we know that we have a long way to go, but in the coming days, definitely we should be able to move up in the ladder. Yeah, if you look at an analysis of the QS World Ranking, so the very first ranked institution is MIT, Massachusetts, and the parameters are all listed. And a tiny country like Singapore, both NUS and NTU have shared the rank 11. And looking at the first 100, the 100th ranked university is University of St. Andrews of UK. Its parameters are listed. And IIT Bombay, that is the best performer from India, its parameters are listed. 500th rank university, its parameters are listed. And Mahe, which is figured in the 701 to 750. So the whatever parameters announced are listed. And if you look at it, so IIT Bombay, IIC, etc., if you look at the citations, the research output, and the academic reputation, etc., much comparable in the first 100 rank institutions. However, when it comes to internationalization, they lack, and this is obvious from the slide. And we also have a fairly good faculty-student ratio, which is comparable at international level for higher ranks. But rest of the places, we need to improve and come up to the levels. Now, coming to the gap analysis, the academic reputation of the institution, because it's 40% of the weightage comes from the academic reputation, the peer-reviewed academic reputation. And definitely to identify by the other part of the world, by our brand, we need to do far more exercise. Shortage of teaching faculty, both quality and numbers, that everybody will agree. And this has happened primarily because of a rapid scaling. And also the present generation is not showing that much of interest in teaching as the first job. And this has affected both quality and numbers. International faculty and student, it is very, very low. In fact, we all have read that IITs have created 1,000 seats for foreign students. The only condition which they have put is they have to come through the JEE Advanced. And around 800 plus people are registered for it, and about 60 plus people wrote, and one person has qualified. So that is the type of representation when it comes to our global presence. Inadequacies in financial resources and quality infrastructure without spelling, it is very clear. So we are competing with universities which are spending the annual budget close to 7,000 crore onwards for running the institution, especially for the research space. And that is where we also, if you want to grow high, we need to have higher emphasis on the research outcomes. And multidisciplinary universities with large pool of students and faculty. And this is what is going to be the order of the day in order to climb up the ladder. Now, coming to the challenges, we need to increase strategic partnership in order to go high in the peer review, and increase scientific productivity, and increase high qualified national faculty, increase student mobility, and the regulatory issues. It is already mentioned that we are caught between around 40 regulators controlling the higher education space. And so that is where we are today. And national education policy, as my previous speaker spelled, shows some glimpses of some hope. And as we all know that this is the sixth policy, and the previous one was in 2002. And so that is the lag we have in changing the policies and moving forward. So in higher education segment, there is an emphasis on creation of multidisciplinary higher education institutions across the country, and increase of GER at least 50% by 2035. So right now it is 25.8%, that is as per 2018. That means our higher education capacity has to be doubled in order to achieve this goal. To move towards more liberal education is being highlighted. Empowered faculty with high competency and thrust on research. Then create a conducive ecosystem for research and a national level funding for it, and also to build a holistic approach for preparation of professionals with the skills which he fits in for 21st century. So some of the points which I just picked, and we have heard few other points, and so all these things are bright steps towards moving forward. Now the story of my friend Dr. Srikanth Rao will spell.
Thank you, Vinod. Good afternoon. Uh, yeah, this emerging into the world ranking is something which all universities in India are looking at quite seriously and with urgency. And MAHE is, of course, also as much keen in looking at how we need to forge alliances, and also as Mr. Dilip, with respect to education world, has put a platform ahead. I think that is something which is very unique, and which is something which is required for the present scenario of what the universities, private universities are facing, and how we can collaborate. So with respect to MAHE and its experiences, just to give you a glimpse about Manipal Academy of Higher Education, as you are already aware, our Dr. Vinod has already mentioned that our founder has started this initiative way back in the early 30s, and in all the disciplines. And he started it in sort of a residential campus in every part of the sector. And that brought in a lot of dreams to students all across, as well as the fraternity. And it was his dream that Manipal should also be deemed to be university. However, his dream was not fulfilled because there were regulatory issues during his time. And in fact, he has written to the then Prime Minister in the late 70s, asking if the government can take over the whole establishment and establish a university. So that was the sort of keenness late Dr. TMFI had in terms of starting that university. But however, we were able to get that status in 1993, and we are now quite well placed in terms of the operations. We have 5 campuses. NAC has also, we have a grade of A, and we have 407 odd programs, and good number of faculty members. Ratio is 1:10. So, and also when you look at Institute of Eminence, we are also one of the 6 universities which have been recognized, and I am sure that there will be more to follow. It is only a responsibility that is shouldered and to be shouldered by the university, the 6 universities, and more universities to follow, with the Institute of Eminence being expanded to other universities as well. And in terms of institutional goals, we are looking at something which is, we are trying to dream big, trying to be in among 500 universities in the ranking, QS ranking, or Times Higher Education in 2022, 200, within 200 in 2027, and 100 within 2032. So dreaming very big, and I'm sure that we are also having certain ways or strategies to ensure that we are trying to move into that targets as and when it happens. Of course, the current status is 701 to 750, so there's a long way to go, and we have the focus is on 5 pillars which align with the requirement of the ranking agency world across. And with one last slide, we would like to end. We would like to ensure that the goal should be within the top 100 universities. So we have a vision that is to excel in education, research, and service. And we have some enablers with respect to academics, active learning, alumni, who is going to be part and parcel of our activities. Priority is on education, research, and innovation. Internationalization is something which is very much important, and also the engagements with respect to also the foundation that we need to enable, which is going to support the whole activity. So the process is something which we have identified as input, output, and what impact in terms of outcome base is what we look at. So just give us a glimpse of what MAHE is in terms of its activities and what we look at in emerging into the global ranking. So with this, we just want to end and take the questions later. Thank you so much.